Hey y'all, welcome to Harrow Farms. I'm Sam. I've been away for a little minute. Originally it started because I was having some technical difficulties. Ran out of space on my phone, which is what I film on, and was having a really hard time getting stuff off of my phone so that I could have space to film more. Anywho, I got it all figured out. But then I kind of came across this like mental roadblock for getting back into filming, and I kind of want to be transparent about it because I feel like I'm not the only person who deals with this. I'm also gonna milk while we chit chat because Jerry just went to go pick up the big boys, so I'm gonna try and get this done before they get home so we can just do bedtime and have everything be nice and smooth. Anywho, I'm gonna talk and work at the same time. Okay, so here's the situation. I, originally was having technical issues, and then after that was like, what am I gonna talk about? Like, what? I don't want to just keep doing videos of me doing my farm chores over and over again. While it's very, like, sweet and nice to look back on for me, because most of the time they involve my kids. I was like, what is this doing for the people on the other end of the camera, And I kind of got stuck in this spot where I was just like, what am I bringing to the table? And it was only within the past couple days that I've kind of come to realize what the problem was. Okay, moved you guys over to the sink. So the problem was that I have been stuck in an echo chamber. I was listening to Jess from Roots and Refuge. I can't remember if this was on the podcast or in a video that she was talking about it recently. But anyways, she was talking about, how she intentionally makes sure that she's not in an echo chamber. And I know that I typically reside in one. I know that I, for such a long time, really felt so alone in wanting to live this lifestyle that once I was able to find some places online that like made me feel like I wasn't a weirdo, I really like clung to that community, So while it's awesome to have the community and know that you're not alone in your desires and that it's like a worthy calling and all that good stuff, there's a line, like she's mentioned before that there's a road and there's two ditches on either side, and if you try too hard to get out of one ditch, you'll land in the other. So I went from being in the ditch of isolation and being like, wow, nobody thinks the same way that I do. Nobody cares about food and raising animals and whatever. And then I went to the complete opposite, which is, oh, that's all anybody ever cares about. Like, I kind of lost sight of the middle ground of having a diverse community. And so I wanted to talk today about escaping the echo chamber, because this is something that I'm now working on. This is not me saying like, hey, here's the roadmap, here's the way out. It's just that I recognize that I'm kind of stuck in one, and I have some ideas on how to escape. And if you have any ideas, drop them in the comments. Or if you realize, hey, maybe you're in the same kind of position where you're just surrounded by people who think exactly like you. Maybe this is the conversation that's like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm in that too, and maybe I shouldn't be. Got all my stuff, I think. Gonna pack mule my way out to the milk room, and then we'll get started. Oh, hey, Aspen. Aspen's hanging out in this paddock tonight. His dry lot is super wet. We just had that tropical storm, tropical cyclone, whatever they called it, came through, Debbie, and drenched us. That's about it, just rain. Another big part of what opened my eyes to this whole echo chamber thing was that I was asked recently by my church to lead a class. We have a women's conference coming up, and they're doing some like breakout sessions where there's a bunch of different classes that they can decide to take. And they asked me to talk about homemaking. And so then I sat down and was like, okay, that's a big subject. Like, how am I gonna, what do I talk about? And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of realized like a lot of these skills are lost, and like they're normal to me. Like it's just what I do, like homesteading and homemaking and the homeschooling, and well, not as much the homeschooling, but you know what I mean. Like a lot of these skills that I have, and a lot of the places that I choose to take the time and like be intentional, that's not like the normal way of living. And because I'm in this echo chamber, it feels like it's normal. Like everybody knows that, duh. So it diminishes this value that I have. You know, like I perceive myself as having less value because there's so many people around me that are doing the same things, when that's really not true. I have specific skills, and I have a specific story that is meaningful, and like God wrote this story in my life to, you know, tell to other people, to show off his glory. And I feel like, you know, he wouldn't have put that much effort in. He wouldn't have given me like these crazy details and like wooed me this hard with this lifestyle if it wasn't for a purpose that was much greater than simply drawing me close to him. Because like, wow, Jesus loves me, and God is so good, and he's such a good father. His glory is for him, not to make just me feel it. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that I'm not worth anything, but this is a complicated subject. But do you understand what I'm saying? Hopefully. Okay, so continuing on with the conversation. I didn't really realize how much I was discrediting myself, and this opportunity with teaching a class really like opened my eyes to how much knowledge that I have that I can share, and like kind of reconnected me with the whole point of why I started YouTube years ago. And it was because back then I was looking for knowledge and I couldn't find it anywhere. Now the YouTube homesteading sphere is much more populated, but that doesn't mean I don't have something to add or have like a unique take on it. So it's just been like a really nice eye-opening couple of days. But I've really been like seeking the Lord, and I feel like I'm hearing back, you know? Sometimes you say a prayer and you're like, please, man, give me some direction. And he's like, just hold on a second. Just give me a minute. And you're like, no, please, like, give me the direction. I feel like I'm drowning. And I feel like I'm getting some now. Okay, it's gonna get loud. I've switched over to milking Maggie, both machine and hand at the same time so that it gets done faster, because I use a simple pulse and it only milks 2/4 at a time. So I do machine on the back, hands on the front, get out of here twice as fast. So, back to our talk. After I realized that yes, I was stuck in an echo chamber, here's kind of some things that I decided to try to do to escape. One of them is, I'm a Christian. If you couldn't tell by now, by all the times I've mentioned Yahweh and Abba. It's a big, huge part of my life. It's a very massive part of how I look at the world. And by attending a physical church here in town, oh, Jerry's back with the boys. By attending a church, I get exposed to a lot of different, lifestyles, even within Christianity. But going to, a worship service where we're all just in the same building, but we're not actually talking to each other, we're all there to worship, doesn't really give you that insight into the rest of their lives or into the rest of the world. So you're still in your echo chamber, just in a room with a lot of other people. So joining our church's life groups, or like small groups, some different churches have different names for it. At ours, they're called life groups. We meet and we talk about the sermon, and we just kind of get to know each other on a deeper level. And we did this last semester, or 2 semesters ago. It's when I was pregnant with Micah. And that, it really helped me to be like, oh wow, I forgot that there's other, walks of life in the world. Which is kind of sad to think that there for a minute I was thinking I was alone. And like, what a poor existence to think that only the style of life that I was living was the one, Like, there's so much beauty in this world, and there's so much diversity. I want to see more, Thanks. Can we walk out, please? Okay. For me, that was kind of step one, was deciding to go back to life groups. He's there for a little bit, I had an itty bitty. He's 6 months old now. But when he was, just a couple weeks old is when they started up the last semester of life groups, and we just weren't ready to try to take him with us. We're gonna try this time. So getting around other folks is a big one. Also just being conscious of, on social media, like especially on Instagram, all of the reels that come up for me, all of the suggested posts are the algorithm knows me, okay? It knows. And so I try to specifically say, don't show me stuff like this, or go search things. I also, and this is probably not a great way, but I also am watching TV shows that don't necessarily align with my values, but I'm there for the story. And it helps to be like, oh, right, these are real world problems. These are things that are going on that I don't get to see in my actual life, but they're real. Okay, let's get this milk inside. But basically, that's what I'm doing to escape this echo chamber that I have created for myself, and that the algorithm has created. I blame a lot of this on the algorithm. Social media is a double-edged sword. Amazing for those of us who feel alone and need that community, and can find it online. I have since found a lot of it in person. I created a group for local homesteading moms. So it's great. I've built community. I found it, cultivated it, which I can talk about another time if y'all are interested in learning about how to build in-person communities. But diversifying, that's what we're talking about today. We're gonna lose light. I gotta plug in the electric fence. All right. Night, Mags. Good night, Aspen. See you in the morning. You better be in this fence, okay? When I come back, you better be in the fence. Aspen is not great about staying where I put him, especially when it comes to the electric fence. It is on, it is very charged. I have 3 lines of wire up instead of the 1 that takes to keep Maggie in, so we'll see. Mm-hmm.
You said they had a bouncy house. All kinds of stuff.
Back to school bash kind of deal.
Yeah. Is he technically in first grade now?
Yeah, he's gonna be.
First grade. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna be up there because you're first grade because you're a big boy.
I don't know if I told you, but I sent in the
How long is
his declaration of intent for
second
homeschooling.
grade? How long
That's
is it?
done. We're legally covered.
How long is it? Is it 12 months until I'm?
In second grade?
Mhm.
Yes.
That means when I'm like 7.
Yep.
I don't know.
Okay,
You do really good. Maybe you'll be in third grade next year.
Yeah, but really, because you're homeschooled, you can go as fast as you want to get through
As
school.
fast as you can learn, you can go.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of been where my mind has been and where I have been away from YouTube. I also think it's important to note that with juggling so many different things, homeschooling, homemaking, and homesteading, all the different things, YouTube tends to be, as Jess says, when I let the low end drag, YouTube tends to drag for me. It's not like super high on the priority list. And while I would like for it to be something I do more regularly, I also recognize that I have a very limited time with small kids. And I want to be able to say that I was intentional with the time I had with them, and that when my energy was running low, that they were the priority, that they are the thing that I made sure I had the energy for, and that I fed them well, and that I taught them well, and that, my house might not be perfectly spotless, ever. My kitchen's a mess right now, and this is kind of my regular. This is like normal level. But I want my kids to grow up being like, yeah, sure, my house was messy, but I always had clean clothes. And there was always dirty dishes in the sink, but we always had, a good meal to eat. I'm not saying I'm gonna cook every single meal from scratch, or that it's gonna be a hot meal even, but they were never hungry. They never had lack, where it's important to not have lack, Maybe they have lack because they don't get screens as much as they want, or they have it because we don't constantly go out to eat, or they don't get a bunch of new toys. And our priorities are just different. And I'm kind of getting off topic here, talking about getting out of the echo chamber, but I think it's important stuff to, I want to be honest with myself, and I also really want to be honest with you guys, so that you can know what to expect from me kind of going forward. 7. Oh man, it's been a long day. It is still the 7th. So back to the class that I get to teach at my church at the women's conference. I've had, why are my dogs barking? Hold on. Hold that thought. Pause. Okay, they're good. There was just a car that was going by slowly. I guess too slow for a minute. So anyways, back to this. Oh no. Back to this class that I'm getting to teach. It kind of, helped me remember that there's a lot of different things that I would love to teach about on here, and just talk about and normalize and externalize. This is something that I've felt called to a lot the past couple years, is living out loud. As somebody who struggles, battles, wars against anxiety and depression, a lot of my living, I feel like, goes on inside of my head. And not I'm delusional or anything, but that there's just a lot of thoughts that I don't externalize. There's a lot of experiences that I go through that are just simply things that I think through instead of either talking through with somebody or, you know, kind of let people in. I lack some vulnerability, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want, well, the first time that I heard this, that was like, you have to live out loud, was when I was trying to figure out how to showcase my relationship with Yahweh to my kids. And I was like, what the heck? How do I teach you guys this? Because most of my relationship with him is in my spirit, is in my head, you know, like I do a lot of praying silently. I journal and I read my Bible, and they see that, but, and, you know, they see the fruits of the Spirit. Not that I have mastered all of them, and it is definitely a work in progress, but then I just had this, like, one of those still small voice moments where it was just clear. It was like, you have to live out loud. You have to, my mom always did this. Whenever there was something just little that was, you know, good, like we hit all the green lights on the way to school or something, and my mom was great about making sure to give credit to God and to be like, oh, thank you, Jesus, that we hit all these lights. And oh, thank you that they had a rotisserie chicken at Publix. And just all of these little small things that normalized and externalized this whole relationship that she had with God, that I could see and I could hear, and it just became my normal. And so when I grew up and, you know, went through my high school years, and I was around a lot of people who did not grow up in that same situation, that was my default setting. I was like, no, this is the truth in which my life is based. Like, Jesus loves me. Jesus died for me. God does all these small things, and it's for me. It's for love, you know? It's love for the sake of love. And so I started trying to do more of that. Micah is calling for me. I'm gonna hurry up and get this milk in the fridge, or in the freezer, and then go pick up my little baby. I'm coming, honey. Micah's recently learned the da noise. It's so cute. A da. A da. I'm coming. Alrighty guys, well, thanks for coming along with me while I externally process some stuff and just kind of open this door of vulnerability with you guys. Yeah, you hear me talking? Micah's ready to go to bed, and then I've got a bunch of dishes to do, so I'm gonna hop off here. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you guys next time.